The world knows her as the queen of heartbreak anthems, the voice behind the legendary track Unbreak My Heart. But according to new reports, Toni Braxton might be the one breaking more than just hearts. Word on the street is that her ex, Bryan Birdman Williams, is airing out everything, and he's painting a picture of Toni that is far from the victim of love she portrays in her music. The story goes that Toni didn't just leave him. She allegedly drained his finances, vanished when the money got tight, and is now teetering on the edge of financial collapse once again. Every artist we cover has a story that deserves to be told, and every song holds a piece of history. If you're passionate like I am about uncovering the legends of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. We're building a community here for people who believe the music matters, and I'd love for you to be a part of it, so please subscribe. This wouldn't be the first time Toni has faced money problems, with 2 major bankruptcies already on her record. But now, with Birdman allegedly telling his side, the timeline of their relationship is starting to look less like a romance and more like a meticulously planned heist. Is Birdman just a bitter ex, or did the R&B icon really play the #1 stunner for everything he was worth? The allegation that has the internet completely stunned is a story so wild it sounds like a movie plot. According to sources, Toni Braxton managed to secure a marriage to Birdman, only to walk away with a demand for a $160 million divorce payout after being his wife for less than a month. You heard that right. The #1 stunner's entire net worth. The timeline is even more shocking. The two reportedly rekindled their romance and tied the knot on August 8, 2024. But in the divorce papers filed just a month later, Toni listed their date of separation as August 10th, 2024. That's 2 days, 48 hours. Fans are trying to figure out what could have possibly gone wrong in that short window, but many are starting to believe nothing went wrong at all, and that this was the plan from the very beginning. Asking for $160 million after a 2-day marriage has people calling it the most audacious money grab in celebrity history. With Toni's long history of financial struggles, the question isn't just if she did it, but how Birdman didn't see it coming. To really understand how we got here, we have to rewind the clock. Toni and Birdman officially called it quits back in 2019, seemingly for good. Toni even went on record suggesting a reunion was completely off the table. For years, they lived separate lives. But then, in 2023, something shifted. After 4 years of silence, Toni was suddenly back in the picture, dropping flirty comments and making it clear she was interested in reconnecting. According to Birdman's camp, he was hesitant at first. He had moved on. But Toni was allegedly persistent. She kept showing up, kept reaching out, and eventually, old feelings resurfaced. They quietly got back together, but the timing raised a lot of eyebrows. Whispers had been circulating for a while that Toni was once again in serious financial trouble, possibly nearing a 3rd bankruptcy. So when she suddenly reappeared in Birdman's life, many wondered if she was seeking out the man or the man's fortune. Now, with the news of their alleged flash-in-the-pan marriage and her shocking financial demand, it's looking more and more like a calculated move for survival. This alleged scheme becomes even more believable when you look at Toni Braxton's financial track record. This isn't just a recent problem. It's a pattern that goes back decades. In 1998, at the absolute peak of her fame, she filed for bankruptcy for the first time. The world was in millions upon millions of records be broke. The scandal was massive. Then, just a year later, she went on Oprah to try and clear her name, but the interview was a disaster. Oprah pressed her on her lavish spending habits, questioning her Gucci flatwear and luxury lifestyle. Instead of taking ownership, Toni broke down, later accusing Oprah of being so freaking mean and claiming the interview damaged her career. She painted herself as the victim, a narrative that seems to be re-emerging today. That moment on Oprah's stage was a turning point, and not in a good way. It made many people see her not as a victim of the industry, but of her own decisions. For a while, it seemed like she had learned her lesson. Toni bounced back, her career stabilized, and things were looking up. but the peace didn't last. In 2010, she found herself in the same position, filing for bankruptcy for a second time. This time, the situation was even more dire. Reports claim she was anywhere from $10 million to $50 million in debt. She publicly blamed the financial collapse on the cancellation of her Las Vegas residency, which was cut short after she was diagnosed with a serious heart condition and lupus. While her health issues were real and tragic, there were other problems bubbling under the surface, including major insurance disputes and a mountain of unpaid taxes. In recent years, that financial pressure has only intensified. Her music is no longer selling like it used to. Her last album barely sold 7,000 copies, and the one before that only moved around 16,000. For a global superstar, those numbers are a catastrophe. Her main source of income became the Braxton Family Values reality show, but even that spotlight has dimmed. With her financial streams drying up, the theory that she turned to Birdman as a lifeline is starting to sound less like a rumor and more like a motive. But the most damning piece of evidence in this whole saga might be the mystery of the missing $5 million ring. Back in 2018, during their first engagement, Birdman proposed with a colossal yellow diamond ring worth an estimated $5 million. It was the kind of over-the-top gesture he was known for, and it made headlines everywhere. But then the wedding kept getting delayed. Toni blamed timing and scheduling conflicts, but something felt off. Then came the bombshell. Toni claimed she had lost the ring. She said she accidentally left it in a bag on a flight. The bag was returned, but the ring was gone, vanished. How do you misplace a $5 million diamond? Well, the streets have been talking ever since, and the rumor is that she never lost it at all. The story goes that Toni, desperate for cash to settle her debts, pawned the ring. At first, Birdman played it cool, publicly brushing off the loss like it was no big deal. But word is, he eventually found out the truth. He discovered that the ring wasn't lost, it was sold. And that was when the trust was completely shattered. The engagement was called off, and their relationship crumbled not long after. Now, connect all the dots. The history of bankruptcy, the Oprah meltdown, the plummeting record sales, and the scandalous story of the pawned ring. It paints a picture of a woman in a desperate financial situation. So when she reappeared in Birdman's life in 2023, it seems he decided to give her one last chance, blinded by whatever love was left. But if these latest rumors are true, Toni didn't just fumble the bag. She allegedly tried to steal the entire bank. The two-day marriage and the $160 million demand feels like the final act in a long con. From Birdman's perspective, he's been played from the start. He's now reportedly fuming behind the scenes, telling friends he won't be made a fool of again. Some sources even claim she tried to sell off some of his other jewelry when she couldn't get her hands on his money directly. It seems Birdman has finally seen the pattern and is refusing to let history repeat itself. He's not just hurt, he's ready to fight back and expose the truth no matter how messy it gets. So where does that leave the legacy of Toni Braxton? For decades, she's been the voice for the heartbroken. But if these allegations hold any weight, she might have been the heartbreaker all along. Is Birdman just a bitter ex trying to tarnish the reputation of a beloved icon? Or is he a man who was pushed too far, finally exposing a side of Toni that she has masterfully hidden from the public for her entire career? The story of the two-day marriage might be the final piece of the puzzle, revealing that her biggest hit wasn't a song, but a long-game hustle. One thing is for certain, this saga is far from over, and it might just unbreak the silence on one of the biggest secrets in R&B history.